Alright guys, I'm going to show you something kind of interesting I learned here. Because the video I posted, I was talking about possibly changing the molded end off of the door weather strips, my newest ones, to the ends from the old ones. But I ended up not. But I had done some test dummies here of trying different glues, and the super glue, I don't know if it's just this one, probably others too, but just regular super glue works awesome. So what I'm going to do is put my glasses on first because I can't see crap up close. I can still spot a Tri-5 Chevy 2 miles off the highway out in an open field though. I might have exaggerated that a little bit. So hopefully you can take a joke. I mean, it's really like 1.8 miles. I think this is empty. Dang it. Oh, there we go. So I'm going to put some of this super glue on here. Now what I had done is I tried 3M weather strip adhesive in the tube, the old traditional stuff. I tried tire tube cement, which was from a plug kit, a tire plug kit. So when you pull it out, the container says rubber cement on it. And then I tried this stuff, which is vinyl cement. That's for upholstery. But anyway, I let everything set up for a few hours, and then I come back out and I pulled these pieces apart, and the super glue, I had to put 3 or 4 times the effort in to pull it apart. And when it did pull apart, it actually ripped the foam seal right where the seam is, but the foam where it was glued stayed together. So if you have to patch a door weather strip, and I'm talking a lot of times when you go to put door rubber on a classic car, you know, and let's just say Tri-5 Chevy, sometimes, like right here, it'll rip out from where the little plastic clip goes. It'll rip out, so you can go in there and kind of spread that apart and put a little super glue down in there and then let it go back together. But I would take the clip out and try to put it in. But actually, let's just try it. Heck, I have nothing to... So you can see the hole where the little white clip goes, and I've got it laying over there on the table. I'll get it here in a second, but let's just pull this apart. Stretch it apart if I can, so I can get some glue down in there. And then I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to try to get the clip in, and we'll see if it comes back apart. I razzed Jeff Thristed this morning about drinking coffee and then doing a video. And then I drank my coffee and now I can't even hold on to the... Karma, man, karma. Sorry, Jeff. Better wipe off the excess there that I made a mess with. I don't want to do that with my finger though. Thought I had that clip laying there, but I don't. So I'm going to let that one dry a second. Now if you have to, take one of these clips out of your weather stripping. All you do is grab hold of it and basically just pull one direction, lift that end up out of there and slide it right out. You can put it right back in there. So it's not too bad to put those in. Now I will tell you, if you have a sedan, like a 4-door sedan, 2-door sedan, or a post car, When you buy door rubber, it usually it comes longer than what you need. So when you get down to the bottom middle of the door, you usually have to trim it back. Now, in case you do not know, on those post cars, on the very bottom of the door, about in the middle, you'll have two holes in the door really close together. That's where you put one end of that weather strip. Okay, so when you start that and then you work your way around the top of the door, you know, the sides and then the top and down the other side and back to the middle at the bottom, cut that weather stripping. Don't cut it right exactly where it needs to be. Cut it longer, just a little bit longer. And then when you're trying to put it up in there, you know, to the other one, kind of pull back on it and then stick it up in there. And that way it's kind of squished together a little bit, because the seals will shrink over time when it relaxes and you know, goes to the body. Over time, you'll notice you'll have a seam, you'll have a gap, because this rubber stripping shrunk. So cut it a little bit long and just kind of squish it together. But I used to just use 3M weather strip adhesive to glue the rubber back together. But after my test with all these little spare pieces the other day, that stuff didn't stick very good. Now, I will say my weather strip adhesive is pretty old. It still seems like it's working, but anyway, on a sedan, that's how you do it. On the very bottom of the door, there's two holes real close together instead of the usual, you know, like 4 inches or whatever that is. There's two close together, and that's where you start your first end. So keep that in mind. Don't start at the top and then work your way around, because you'll have a gap at the top. If it's underneath the bottom middle of the door, it's pretty much hidden. Okay, so I'm going to put, oh, I needed that clip to try that. I already forgot. I don't know if that's hardened enough yet. I might have. All right, here we go. I don't know if that glue's had time to set or not. It worked. It stayed together. Now that's pretty amazing. So you can glue your weather stripping back together if it's split apart. So, oh, there's remnants of my black 3M weather strip adhesive right there. Anyway, that super glue seemed to do the trick there. This really I don't know if that's set long enough. The other day I let it set a long time, but golly, see how it broke it apart? So super glue, man. Now keep in mind, if your weather stripping's on your door, don't get a ton of that stuff on there, because if you ever remember as a kid, if you use this stuff, like tried to use it on your model cars, it will craze paint. It'll put a little white foggy area around the spot, so use it sparingly. All right, a little super glue action there. That's kind of interesting. So I'm going to try to just, let me grab some pliers here. I'm going to try to pull this out of here and see if it breaks where I glued it. Now, I mean, it should. It ripped in a new spot. Look at that. Actually, it did kind of rip in the same spot, but so I got clean sponge seal right here. So you can see where it did tear it back apart in about the same spot, it tore new foam off. So I'm telling you, man, super glue's that's pretty interesting to know, and it's everywhere. Like if you need it in a pinch, it's at just about any store. My convenience store up here has it, actually. Anyway, guys, I'll give you another little tip here. Let me get everything reset. All right, guys, so usually when you put weather stripping on a Tri-5, you get these little white plastic clips here, and there's holes in the body or holes in the panel, and you know, try to push the clip in. Sometimes these are a pain in the rear to try to get put in there, so I always try to get my thumb down in this where this is curved. I try to get it down in that edge to where I can feel the top of that clip and then push on it. Now I have in the past used like a piece of wood, and I'll try to get it on that curved spot right on top of that, and you know, try to use that to put it in there and then whack it. Now most of the time, if you use something sharp like a screwdriver, flat blade screwdriver, something, you'll tear that rubber, and then you'll have to put super glue on it and, you know, patch it. Keep in mind, once you put the super glue on there and you know, try to get it stuck back together, you need to wipe off that outer face to get some of that excess super glue off there. But anyway, what I found from working on that door over there, because I had some of them I could get in, you know, just a little bit, but I couldn't get them to seat all the way. This was pretty interesting, was a pair of pliers, and just reach up in the door, because you can see all them clips up through there, and they give us, you know, pretty good access hole here, pretty good access hole here. But you can reach in there on the backside and grab that clip and pull it, and it just pulls it right up there. So pretty interesting. And on a hardtop door, I can get almost pretty much all the way around it, you know, the main part. Now you do have your boxes up at the front that has your, you know, your hinge bolt stuff up here, but you still have room to get in there. But I thought that was kind of interesting. But another thing I can give you a little bit of a tip on, because I learned this the hard way back in the 90s on a 2-door post I'd done. I had original doors. The car was pretty good, solid car. But everywhere there was a hole on the bottom of the door, and it may not have been every one of them, but on a few of them on the bottom of the door is the little holes that these little white clips go in. The water, which is where it always goes when it rains or you wash your car, it ends up in the bottom of the door and then drains out. But anyway, water can set in there around where these clips go. So it was a little bit rusty around those holes, and it was actually enlarged just a little bit on them. So when I put the clip in, of course it wouldn't hold. So I remember that time that I did that, I basically took a pair of pliers and I squished the crap out of that clip, and it basically ovals it, and that allowed it to, you know, kind of get up in there and hold. But I did have to glue it, so you will have to put glue under there if your holes are enlarged from rust a little bit. So anyway, that will work if you have to do that. But it's kind of amazing. I did do a test on a different clip yesterday. Let's just do that right now. Hold that thought. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to caliper out. We're going to caliper out these clips. So right here is a precision, the old door weather strip from the other side. Actually, I don't want to use this one because the clips are messed up. They might be a different. All right, so here's the precision from the driver's side that never got installed. So I am going to caliper out right on the Christmas tree part. Let's see, 192.5. Okay, that is the precision. Here is the Dan chuck. Brand new, never been installed because it didn't have molded ends on it. .181. So that's interesting. So the clips are smaller from the Dan chuck stripping than the precision. That kind of explains why I had one hell of a time trying to get that precision door sill in there. So now I'm going to caliper out this OER, which I have not got fully seated yet because the front is giving me a hell of a mess. 198. So that is the diameter differences on those. So I tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull those Dan chuck clips out of that Dan chuck rubber, and I'm going to put them in them ones I'm having trouble with up here, because you know, when you get to the front of the door up here, if your door's on and your fender's on, you're having a heck of a time trying to get that weather stripping in there. And if your clips are big, it's a pain in the butt. Now when I did the bodywork and stuff on these doors, I did block out, I did wipe filler on all of the door all the way around and blocked it out so it'd be nice and straight. So I put Z-Chrome primer on it, which is a high build polyester, and then I blocked it out again. Now when I was done with that, I used a step bit by hand because the door was off and upside down on stands. And I just went in there with that step bit and opened it back up to the factory till shiny metal was there. Then after I blocked the Z-Chrome out, I did that, and then I 2K primed it. So the only buildup of primers and paint is single stage paint and urethane primer. I didn't want to, do that after the urethane primer because that's what I put my paint over, but you get what I'm saying. The bigger the buildup of paint in there, the bigger problem you're going to have putting the clip in. But that's pretty interesting to notice on the clips there. So anyway, I will tell you, just be careful when you're trying to, like when you got that stripping up there and you're trying to push that clip in over the top of that weather stripping and you're using some kind of tool, you can tear that rubber because this stuff tears pretty easy. So, but if it does, the super glue trick will get you by. I would use it sparingly though, I wouldn't use it excessively. Thanks for watching.